Hey everybody, it's Greg again. Episode 16 of Unbreakable Spirits. Um, Today is my mom's birthday, April 11th, and she would have been 103 years old. And this year, in August, will be 10 years since she passed away. And I just wanted to say happy birthday to my mom up there in heaven and say, I wanted to tell you a few things about her because she was a pretty cool person. Um, my mom used to be a practical nurse. She went to school to be a nurse, and she was going to get her RN degree. This was back in the 50s, and then I came along, and when it was found out that I had little bones, uh, she gave up her career to take care of me at home. And more than her career, she really sacrificed a lot of her life, not only for me, but for her whole family. My mom had 6 kids, and after my dad died, he was only 55. He died in 1977. She never remarried again. Um, she liked her bingo. She was a great bingo player. Um, in her heyday, she would go to bingo 2, 3 times a week, sometimes more. That was her hobby. She loved it, and she was a pretty good player too. Um, if there was a professional bingo league, mom would have been in it, and she might have been the commissioner. That's how good she was. Um, and she would play all these cards. I don't know if you ever played bingo before. All these cards, and like one board has maybe like four little separate cards on it. But she would play like 10 boards. That's like 40 cards she would play. And she would have the chip in her hand and she would run down the numbers, and they don't give you much time to mark your numbers or whatever, or the dabber in your hand, whatever she would use. And maybe they give you 20 seconds, 15 seconds, and she would just go down. And I'm pretty sure she memorized the cards. I mean, before the game, they would give you cards and paper, bingo cards. She would scan them and she would look them over, like somebody would be reading the newspaper. And and she would, you know, I, I swear, she memorized the cards. I don't know how she did it. But somebody called like G56. She said, "Oh, I got it. I know it's somewhere here. It's 40 freaking cards, and she's got it." But she loved her bingo. In fact, when she ended up in a nursing home, she used to play bingo there too with the other residents. And I tell you what, they were that was very cutthroat there. They played for real. Whereas in her day, they would play when she was healthy. In her younger days, she would play for real money. They would play for real money. Sometimes the jackpots would be like $1,000, sometimes more, you know. And then in the nursing home, they would play for things like quarters or bananas or something. But it was the competitive nature. It didn't really matter what they were playing for. It was the competitive nature. And so she'd be at a table with some other ladies, and the other lady would win across the room. Sometimes I would stop and see her during my lunch breaks. I worked at the same nursing home she was in as a social worker, and I would stop by at lunch to see her. And she would be, or before I left for the day, and she would be playing bingo, and I would stop by and say, "How you doing?" And then just whisper, because if you say anything like if you're too loud, boy, those they would shut me down, bro. But hey, shut up. Anyway, uh, and she would say, "You see that lady over there? She's won 7 times already today. I don't know what she's wielding, but she's really lucky." Anyway, so she took her bingo pretty serious. That was That was a big holiday one. And she went to church a lot too. That was between church and bingo. That's what kept her family. That's what kept Bob busy. Uh, she would go to church. She was so religious and so faithful that she would go to church on, I'll get this, Christmas Eve, and that would fulfill your obligation to go for Christmas Day, for the holy day. Well, that didn't matter to mom. She went anyway. She went Christmas morning, usually 11 o'clock mass. Same way with Easter. She'd go Good Friday, was Thursday, was Saturday, Easter Sunday. She just loved going to church. She had more faith than anyone I've ever met in my life. And so she loved church. The other thing I remember about my mom too is she was just a very caring, compassionate person. Um, if she knew that someone in the neighborhood or a friend, family, or someone in church, at our church, was sick or someone had died, she would make a pot of soup or cookies or bake something and take it over to the house. She would always send a card. A lot of times she would stop by the hospital and visit people who were sick. I mean, she was just, that's the kind of person she was. She was just a very compassionate person. And the funny thing is, in her later days, before she ended up at the nursing home, one of the things she did, which was almost like a weekly thing, I don't know if you want to call it a hobby, was attending funerals. And she just loved to attend funerals. I don't know why. In fact, when we went to the local funeral director here in town to arrange her funeral, he said to us, "So this is where she used to sit in the back row, that seat, that was her seat." And that was part of her day. And I often thought how tough that must be to see your friends. My mom lived till she was 93. And up until then, she was in relatively okay health. I mean, she was driving at 90. And so she would go to these funerals almost every week. And generally they'd be people that she grew up with, people she went to school with. And how hard that must have been to see your friends and pass on, before you, and know that so many people that you knew and loved for so many years were passing away. So that had to be tough. The more I think about it, it's I personally, I remember, of course, when I was a kid, I really, especially when I was in casts, these body casts, depending on what kind of fracture I had. Say I had broken back, and they would put me in a cast that's up from my neck all the way down. And in that situation, I couldn't do anything. Feed myself, bathe myself. My mom literally took care of me, when I was a kid. She would do everything. And that's why I can never forget her, because she really not only sacrificed a lot of her life for me, but she really took good care of me. Maybe that's why I'm still here. They say the average lifespan of someone with osteogenesis imperfecta with the type that I have is only 25 years. Well, here I am, 66. So why am I still here, right? Of all those, over doubled my lifespan, how long I'm supposed to be here. And I think one of the reasons why is because my mom and my dad took such good care of me when I was a kid, and uh, I give a lot of credit to her. You know. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to acknowledge my mom, and if you want to know more about her, what a special person she was, you could read my book, and Unbreakable Spirit, because I write a lot about my mom. And in fact, I dedicated the book to my mom and my dad because, I mean, they were the true unbreakable spirits in my life. A lot of people who were unbreakable spirits in my life, friends, family, siblings, my doctors, nurses. I mean, you name it. A lot of people touched my life in some way, and the book is really dedicated to all of them. And it's really a story about them, about wanted people to know about them and how special they were to me. And but my mom, she was a real unbreakable spirit because she was always positive and kept me positive, wouldn't let me get depressed. And one of her favorite sayings, I still remember it, saying, things could be up, things would always be rich. There's someone out there who always rich. It's love, you know. So she never let me get down by herself. And so I have a lot to be thankful for. And I'm very blessed that my parents were my parents, and especially my mom, and how she touched my life. And so anyway, happy birthday, Mom. 103 years old. You don't look a day over 102. um, it's when people get that old, and it's like you think, wow, it's unbelievable. But I miss her, and I still wish she was here. You know, still love her. So happy birthday, Mom. Thanks for tuning in again, and see you next time on Unbreakable Spirits. Bye.